Anime is not an art form. Hey, how's it going? Today we're going to talk about the worst art tips on YouTube. As usual, when I'm making videos like this, I usually go on my community tab and I ask you guys to leave a comment on the post. So if you happen to see any of my posts come on your timeline, be sure to leave it a comment as well. Also, we hit 200k subscribers on the channel and that's actually super awesome. I'm proud of this family we're becoming. We're also still accepting new family members, so subscribe if you're new here. You get benefits such as meeting new positive people to talk to in the Discord server and a new video every week on different topics on YouTube and the internet. Today we have a long list of worst art tips on YouTube, but some of these art tips were not necessarily given by other YouTubers. You might have heard them from an art friend or an art teacher or someone you look up to with hopes of them bestowing onto you the knowledge and mastery of many years practicing art. One tip I absolutely hate is just don't do art if you're bad. Did someone actually say that to a person? This can't even be called a tip, this is just plain discouragement. One thing I hate is criticizing a person's work but not knowing where to draw the line and just stop once you start discouraging them. I have always given advice to different people, and from what I have learned, I can tell you that people listen and respond to advice differently. Some people easily get discouraged when they feel too much pressure is being put on them or their work, or if they just feel they're not up to the task, while other people just buckle up and accept everything and decide to work harder. People who give advice like this should try to understand the people they're talking to before they go ahead and start talking down on them and discouraging them from trying art at all. Art is very personal, and if someone talks bad about your art, that could leave you feeling very bad with yourself for some days or weeks even. I also don't think art cannot be learned even if you're totally bad at it. Art is a skill, and like every other skill, it can be developed by practicing the basic principles and repeating them over and over and over again over a period of time. Anyone can learn and improve at any period of time, so don't let other people just decide and dictate whether or not you should do art or not. Don't ever use black for shading. Don't ever use references because that's cheating. Get good programs like Photoshop. It makes you draw better art. What? This sounds like a tip you'll see in the comment section from an anonymous troll account on 4chan. The art program you draw with literally has no effect on your skill whatsoever. If you're bad at drawing or painting in one program, I'm pretty sure you're going to be bad at painting and drawing in other programs as well. Although certain programs make drawing easier because they have better tools that feel like an actual pen, or just better layer options for painting and manipulating photographs, or just an easier and simpler to use workspace. This doesn't automatically increase your skill level like a power-up in a video game. A really good traditional artist will still be good if he takes the time to learn how to paint on the computer. It's just like saying wearing Air Jordans will make you a better basketball player even though you're bad at the sport. It makes zero sense. And then for the tip on not using black for shading, I'm not so sure I completely understand the reason for a tip like that. I guess it's because black and white are not seen as true shadow colors and highlight colors, especially in painting, since the light dictates the color of the shadows. But there are still instances and other art styles that heavily rely on using black for their shadows. For instance, Takeshi Koike's art. You might have seen Redline or Afro Samurai, or I can't remember the name of the short in the Animatrix. He had a short in the Animatrix too that was really nice. His art style uses heavy blacks for shadows and he pushes the proportions of his characters. Everything feels very exaggerated, especially with the way he poses his characters in perspective and the angles he chooses to use in any of his work. Another show that uses black for shadows is Black Dynamite. No pun intended there at all. Now, the style used in Black Dynamite was a homage to Takeshi Koike, and you can see it apparent with the way the characters are drawn and the use of blacks and exaggerated poses in perspective all throughout the show. This is a really cool art style if you ask me, and I think black can be used for shadows and shading depending on the look you're going for with your work. I know you'll probably be learning how to shade your work since you can't use black anyway, so this is where I'll insert our sponsor, Skillshare. You've probably heard of them before, you've probably seen their ads from other YouTubers, and you've probably heard they're giving free membership of Skillshare Premium to the first 1,000 people who sign up using the link. But if you still haven't taken the offer yet, you probably don't know what you're missing out on. Free access to learning from masters like Patrick Brown in drawing, poses, and coloring full illustrations, a free access to learning how to manage your time or chasing a new hobby like fishing, and free access to creating your own classes if you want to share something with someone on the other side of the world. Use the link in the description to get access to your free trial, brought to you by Skillshare. Only draw if you don't have time because that challenges yourself. Well, that's a lot to take in. Only draw if you don't have time because it challenges you? That's absurd. Sorry, grandma. If you force yourself to draw under pressure with limited time, you're going to make a lot of mistakes, especially if you're not used to working with limited time or if you haven't worked crunch time in a studio before. Once you're busy trying to beat the clock, your brain automatically starts to make some mistakes and you're not going to notice them until you're finished with the drawing. It's still a good form of practice if you're trying to improve with your drawing speed, and with time, if you keep on working and practicing on improving your speed and drawing, you'll begin to notice the mistakes early on and just correct yourself before you even start to make them. It doesn't matter how many brushes you have, you need more. If you can't learn how to use the standard hard round brush with pressure opacity and the soft round brush, then I don't think you're ready to start practicing using other brushes. It's never about the brushes actually. You need fundamental skills to understand how to use the brushes and where to apply them. Brushes mostly give you texture if you're going for a particular look, but you can literally learn using just the standard hard round brush. Anime is not an art form. You should never draw cartoons, and only realism is real art. Who gives this advice to people even? Every form of art appeals to different people. If a person prefers drawing cartoons to hyper-realistic rendered charcoal drawings, that's his choice. You don't have a right to tell him not to like that art or even practice drawing like that. There really is no real art or fake art at all. All art is art. It's your creativity that counts. Just practice, you'll get better. If you're not going to tell someone what to practice, then don't bother telling them anything at all. There's nothing more annoying than just giving vague advice. Some people thrive on giving unclear tips and advice and just letting you struggle and wander on your own looking for the solution to your problems. The only way to improve constantly is to focus on the fundamentals of art, break them down into different weeks, and then practice each one on a separate week. And every week, once you see improvement in your work and you're beginning to understand that particular fundamental, then that means it's time for you to move on to the next week and start practicing another fundamental. It's a very simple process to follow. I made a video covering the fundamentals 2 months ago, so you can check that out if you're trying to get better at the fundamentals, or if you're just tired of hearing people tell you just practice or just draw without exactly telling you what to practice, how long you should practice, and what to even focus on as a beginner. Fan art isn't real art. This isn't even an art tip, it's just truly nonsense. Drawing fan art is the fastest way to get your art in front of people who are literally fans of the character you're drawing. If you're trying to build an online presence, just do a series of fan arts with 5 to 10 images of characters from any show you like and try to get it in the eyes of people who are familiar with the show. So basically you're going to share it everywhere on every social media platform, and always make sure you leave a link to your portfolio or you write your name on your work so everyone who sees it will know where to go to look for more work from you. Just learn to do 2 or 3 poses instead of learning anatomy. You won't need more. I don't think you'll get anywhere listening to any of these art tips. It seems each art tip just keeps getting worse as we go on. Learning to draw 2 or 3 poses will literally have you drawing just the same 3 or 2 poses in all of your work, which will just look really awkward. It's just like telling a comic book artist to learn how to draw just 2 or 3 poses, and then he goes ahead and draws a comic book and he only draws all the characters in just the same 2 or 3 poses all throughout the entire comic book. It just doesn't make any sense at all. I guess the person was just trying to be smart so as not to waste time learning anatomy and just focus on learning just a few easy poses, which is just going to harm you in the long run. Just focus on learning anatomy by simplifying the muscles with shapes and then trying your best to memorize that, and I guess you'll be good to go. Tracing in any shape or form is bad. Well, this depends on the context the tracing is being used. If you're tracing another artist's image 1 for 1, that's totally wrong and is stealing, literally. But if you're drawing a character and the character is holding a gun in the image and then you bring a reference of a gun and then you trace over that, that is not stealing, that's just being efficient. Professional artists do the same thing, especially when they have to churn out a lot of drawings just in a short amount of time. Once you already have a rough sketch and you understand what you're doing, you can literally trace anything from guns, cars, buildings, rough skylines, but I guess you can't just use 3D to do that. It should be easier, I think. That's if you know how to use 3D. Don't copy art styles. Honey, everything is a remix. You can literally take inspiration from a person's art style and use certain elements in your own work. The only problem is when you take too many elements and then your art starts to look like the person you're drawing inspiration from, which I happen to be guilty of quite a number of times, but I think I'm gradually getting over that now. But there's totally nothing wrong with drawing inspiration from another artist's work. The right way to do it is to have a number of artists you admire and then take different elements from their work and then use that to your own advantage in your own work. That is how you will find your art style. Don't use references. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you for watching. Be sure to leave the video a like and subscribe to my channel if you're new here. Subscriptions literally don't cost anything. All you have to do is just click the red button somewhere below and then click the bell icon. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.